Battabox.
Today I have an amazing guest, and you guys know I always bring interesting and amazing, wonderful people on the show. And today is just so important that I have this person on my show today. Now I've been following these guys for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years back to back. He's a hard worker, he's an amazing person, he's a media personality, hype man, and the guy does a lot. He does a lot. The Vybe King himself, Sheye Banks.
Yo.
What's good?
What's going on, my guy? I mean, man, it's been long now. The last time we saw was prior to pandemic, right?
Yes.
We've been keeping in touch, and yeah, I see you've been doing big things yourself.
Yeah, you too, man. I mean, it's about you today. Like, I don't know. I admire your work, like your work rate, like. I believe in people working hard to get what they want, and I see all of that in you. The hustle is real. Like anybody who's around you, anybody who's been with you before can tell that you always work so hard to get what you want. I mean, look at you right now. At this point of your career, you've done everything. You've paid your dues and everything.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me, just give me like a little bit of background, like the journey, the process, and everything you did that brought you to this point of your career right now.
If I'm going to be very honest with you, I won't say anything I did brought me to where I am right now. It's just the grace of God. You know, like I'm only here because of God's grace. There are some people that work harder than I did and I've done and don't have what I have, you know. I mean, there's some people that have been doing radio way before I started doing radio and they don't have the opportunities, or they've never had the opportunities that I've had, you know. And some people hype. They don't have the opportunities. Say everything I've done, there's someone else that has done it, right? And I'm just saying, like, it's the grace of God. And also, you know, it's still God that has blessed me with, like, the innovative, unique ideas that just made me stand out in the process of doing what I did. So, for me, it's been a journey. I mean, I started, like, a couple of years ago. I'm still Gen Z for life, you understand? But
Gen Z,
you know, and it's been interesting, you know. I mean, shout outs to everyone I've worked with along the way. Like, I won't say I did it all by myself.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that have helped me, you know, shaped me. Also, they've given me some sort of inspiration to also continue, even though, like, there were days where I was down and out, but, you know, there are people that helped me and stood by me, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you do a lot of things when it comes to the media. I mean, this guy, he's a radio. He works on the radio. He does TV. He hypes it. Obviously, he's a Vybe King. I mean, MC, everything. I mean, you do so much that even me, I did already the same thing. There are some things that I do that I will not be able to handle. But which of these things, like, gives you the more money?
Gives me more money? It has to be hype.
Hype, right?
To be honest, like, being on stage is the most beautiful thing. And you're enjoying yourself on stage and you're getting paid, like, good money.
Yeah, I know.
To do that. And right after that, I'll say being an A&R also pays me well. And I'm also, you know, like, I was on the phone, you know, prior to getting here, on my way here. I'm about to direct 2 music videos. So it's like, those are like, you know, also like
another part of Sheye Banks you're about to unlock.
Yes, so Director Banks loading.
Director Banks.
and as a creative, I just personally believe in, like, don't be put in a box. Like, you can you can do what you put your mind to. Sometimes you see how you can create from a point of pain, like anger. Like, I started hype music, which was the unique part of my hype. Right, I started hype music because I was angry that artists did not give me songs.
Wow.
And that became a sense of inspiration and motivation for a whole new generation of hype men. Right? Video directors, they were doing me shaggy. I decided, you know what, it's time. And at the end of the day, I understand where they're coming from, but I'm just saying, like, there's a point of pain that you get to that makes you want to even do something for yourself. You know, even when I was on the radio, you know, I used to be a voiceover guy. People wouldn't want to edit they would take so long. And then even my interviews, to chop it up, I had to learn how to do it by myself. Wow. So it's from a point of pain sometimes that you just find, like, how creative you can be. You know, so, I mean, I don't like being put in a box. So I like to create, like, I like to just evolve. And evolution is really very key. Yeah. You know, so, yeah, man. Hype pays the most, A&R Director Banks, and maybe radio.
Yeah, radio. Yeah. Speaking of evolving now, I know I've been following you way back since before you even came to Sound City.
Yeah.
I've been following you Hot FM days,
Kiss FM.
I'm sorry, Kiss FM,
Yeah.
Kiss FM days. And would you say coming to Sound City kind of turned, like, Sound City was like a catalyst to your hype, to you being a hype man? Do you think when you came to Sound City, people heard you more, you got that audience more?
Absolutely. I was already like an established hype man in some sort of setting in Lagos, because I just moved back to Lagos from Abuja, so I was already gaining my ground as a hype man. But there's just something that when you are good at something, there's just something that brand image does that catapults you to a different level. And I think that was what I was able to get with, being at Sound City. There was that opportunity to, take what you already have, that existing thing you have, combine it with the brand image that you're building for yourself, and take it to just run with it, take it to a whole new level.
Amazing. So let's talk about your work you did with Kiss Daniel. The A&R work. That was like the biggest. I don't know if it's like one of the highlights for 2022 for you, because I know that would be like one of the biggest things you did in 2022. A&R in the biggest song for that year. I mean, Buga was everywhere, the whole of Africa, even internationally. How was that for you? How did you feel?
To be honest, it was just the reassurance that I needed, that I'm very special. Like, that was when I realized that magic doesn't just happen like that. It needs something special before great things can happen. And then I'm not going to take all the credit, but I know that my hand was actively involved in that. Like, the producer to Buga, he's my producer, he's my talent, and it just happened the way it did. I took him to Kiss Daniel, got an opportunity.
Oh, you brought the producer that produced the song as well?
Wow. He signed to my management. So his name is Reward Beats, by the way.
Okay.
He's really talented. He produced Extra Cool for Young John. He produced Sheye and All Over for Magic's I Go Wait. Yeah, he produced so many hits. He's got a couple of hit songs.
Wow,
so I think Buga was his break, right? So it was magical for him, and it was magical for Kiss Daniel. That's Kiss Daniel's biggest song till date.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing. I knew that I was positioned at that point in time to make that happen. So I just know that things are just not ordinary.
So how was it like from them? Because I'm sure we're labels calling you like, yo, come and do work for
thankfully, I have a large clientele now.
Okay.
And but I'm very, very, music is still very spiritual, and energies are also very spiritual. So right now I'm currently working with Joe Boy. I A&R'd his sophomore album, Body and Soul, dropped a few weeks ago. And, it's amazing. Joe Boy's album, I don't think you'll see a better album than Joe Boy's Body and Soul album in 2023. It's special. It's, it's a lot of work. And, there are a lot of people I'm working with as well. You need to look out for Romy too. Top Boy Romy is also signed to us. And, we're just working, we're putting in so much work to make sure that, the essence of A&R by Sheye Banks doesn't, die. And working with these amazing artists is just very special. It just it's a reassurance of how special my creativity is.
Nice. Yeah. Amazing. So now you are basically the Afro hype, the connoisseur for Afro hype and everything, right. Preaching the Afro hype gospel and all of that, and it's amazing. What is your goal with Afro hype, and what do you intend, and why are hype men so important to the creative industry?
That's a good question. So hype men are very, like, if you're gonna have a party and you don't have hype men, right? It's like there are some foods. I've given this analogy before. It's like there's some meals you can enjoy. There's some food that you can enjoy without cutlery, right? Yeah. You can enjoy eba, amala, soups without cutlery, right? But it's like eating pasta and noodles with your hands. Yeah. Like, that's exactly how hype men are at parties, at events. It's like, how do you have a concert and you don't have a hype man. You can have a burial without a hype man, right?
Yeah, sure.
How do you do a wedding and you don't have a hype man at the wedding after party?
Yeah.
These are some of the things that you need to have. Like, it's very important for you to have a hype man at your party. Now, for Afro hype, I've realized that a lot of young creatives, a lot of young hype men don't have that platform to get on these big stages where they get bread. Like for real, right? And they also do not have the cosigns like featuring artists and featuring big artists that could get them numbers to stream, right? So hence I created this avenue for you to be able to create without being put in a box. You can either do it with a DJ's mix, you could do it with your own beats. I prefer to use beats, like, you know, freshly created music, and then release them, create the lamba, release, and you never know how far it goes. We've seen samples of hype music that has taken people to different parts of the world, continent, people have traveled. I'm seeing hype men today travel the world, and it's just beautiful to see how hype music has gone far. And you know, music is a universal language, and is a universal ticket. If you've been a hype man for 10 years, 20 years, it could be easier for you to travel the world and your sound to travel the world, your gifts to even travel the world, than your gift as a hype man. So if you're a hype man making hype music, it's easier for you to travel the world and spread the gospel of hype. So I saw it as a tool to inspire the young ones and also spread the news and the gospel of hype to the world, because it's a very, very delicate craft. It's a craft that needs to be, it's a special craft. We put in so much work. I don't know if artists putting as much, there's some artists that putting as much work as we do at shows, but not a lot of artists, I can say this, putting as much work as hype men do, because you need to get the people revved up. You need to get them active before you come on stage. You see, the reason why there's an artist that has a hype man is because he's trying to hype people up I want to welcome you on stage, the one and only. It's energy. So for you to bring an artist on stage, for you to even open for the artists at their tours, their shows, it's a lot of work. So the craft needs to be respected more. It needs to be seen as a well-designed craft, which is part of what we're doing with Afro Hype and, you know, with the branding and everything. And it needs to inspire the next generation to see that I can take this on as a full-on career. So, yeah.
You know, it's good that you mentioned the whole hype men coming to hype up the crowd during a show and all of that, because sometimes I usually have a problem with hype men doing their thing when the artist is actually performing. You know, it's the sound and everything, especially when it's a show that probably the sound is not that good, and you can tell that the sound is not good, and then you have the hype men doing their thing. You know, it clashes somehow with the artist voice and everything. Do you support that kind of hype, like when hype men are doing their thing, like probably let's say DJ Tunes? You know, DJ Tunes only just like do the intro and then he lets Wiz do everything.
No, I mean, there's sometimes where like even DJ Tunes just chips in. So it's about, so experience would also teach you.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't just be hyping on everything the artist is saying.
Yeah.
There are times where another thing is, you even need to know who the artist is. There's some artists that don't have energy for this. Someone like Rema, you don't need to say too much
at all.
He has the energy. You know, I mean, I don't want to name other artists that don't have that energy as much as he does, but there's quite a bunch of talents that don't have that energy that guy carries, you know. So sometimes you need to be the driving force to hype him up, you know. And sometimes there are some things that you can say that will just make him want to dance, or you make her want to dance. You know, that's the artist. So as a hype man, you need to have that experience, and it comes with time. So Tunes knows that he brings the Wizkid up, Wizkid does his thing, and then he gives Wizkid cues. If you notice, there's cues where he say, yo, Wiz, we got to take them back in time to the 90s.
Yeah.
We got to take them back 2000s. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's about the chemistry, understanding the experience, and, you know, with time, everything just seems to shape out to the way it's going to be. You know, so at the end of the day, artists and hype man, they're like brother and sister, right? It's like
Batman and Robin.
Exactly, Batman and Robin. So you need to have a good relationship to be able to understand. You also need to rehearse. There needs to be rehearsals. If there's no rehearsal, there's not going to be that synergy.
Yeah.
So it's very important that that happens.
Good. So let's talk about the hype community in Nigeria. I know at least for Nigeria specifically, I know that it's not all that saturated. And how would you describe the hype community in Nigeria?
Good question again. There needs to be unity, in the hype community. There currently is, but it could be way better.
Okay.
It could be, it could be way better. It could aid a whole generation of an industry. There's like DJs have a community, comedians have a community, artists have communities, even though some of these things are not functioning, but they're very symbolic and important to how it can aid the next generation to have a community. Also, there needs to be academies.
Okay.
Hype academies. Shout out to Toby Shang. Shout out to Voltage. There are some guys doing these things to help mentor young ones. AK Smooth, I know, also helps Toby Shang, and there are quite a number of people doing that. But if we have more academies, more mentors, taking on mentorship programs for hype men, like the way a lot of DJs have academies, it would go a really long way to build an industry of hype men and women.
Good. So talking about relationships now, I know fans only know what like they're limited to what they know about artists, you understand? But you guys, I feel like hype men are very, very close to artists, and they have these very close relationships,
Right.
So what would you say about how fans fans say a lot of things. Fans say a lot of things. But what is the relationship like with you that that you've been in the industry? Like, how would you describe the relationship between hype men and artists among themselves in the industry in general?
I think it's a tricky relationship. Sometimes people get too comfortable. Like hype men get too comfortable and then they don't know how to set boundaries. Like the artist is the superstar. You're just behind the artist. Like, you're supposed to support the artist, right? Don't get carried away and then jump in front of the stage and feel like you're supposed to be in front of the artist. The artist.
I know one artist that will put you back in your place.
Who's that? Who just that?
You can't do that to Burna Boy. Definitely.
I know, right?
You can't do that to
Burna Boy. So to be honest, the artist is the spotlight.
Yeah.
So you have to remember that. So sometimes don't get carried away as a hype man. And the relationship is always very beautiful. I mean, we share secrets. There's things that people don't know.
Yeah.
And you get to see them at their most vulnerable states. Sometimes you're just wishing and praying for them, like you pray together sometimes before you get on stage. I mean, it's very beautiful. The energy is in sync, and there's trust, there's love. Sometimes when you're going through personal stuff, they check in, and man, it's a beautiful feeling.
Oh, that's nice, really nice. So let's go back to radio a little bit,
right?
Because it seems like we've digressed. Radio stations these days, and I have like a couple of friends of mine who are actually trying to get into the industry and all of that. Sometimes they ask me questions, and there's one thing in particular that radio station like in Lagos does. Like, so many of them have they've called me, they've texted me, they've complained about the same thing, and even I too have experienced it. And so I noticed like a pattern with these guys, and I know like you've been around for a very long time, so I just want you to like explain to me from your own experience. So there's this thing that they put out vacancy, like an open call out there, that everybody should drop their demo and all of that. And me, I've been doing this for like 3 years. Any vacancy or open call I see out there, I do my demo, fresh demos almost every time, and I give it out to like friends I know in the industry, someone like you, to help me, check out the whole thing and scrutinize and everything. And then we send it out. To the radio stations. But then 2, 3, 4 weeks later, you see this guy picking someone that's already popular in the same industry, for the same position that over 100, 200, 300 people that I'm sure would have already applied. And you know what this thing does to people upcoming
who have the
yes,
talent.
exactly. And I'm not going to lie, I actually gave up. Like once I just said it, I don't even do it again.
Now let me say something. It's not just radio.
Yeah, it's not just radio, obviously.
It's
yes.
the way the world works now. If you don't have the number, it's a numbers game. If you don't have the numbers, if you don't have some form of clout, if you are not putting some form of work for yourself to significantly be independent, they may not need you, because the radio stations are also trying to feed off your energy. I'll give you an example. There's a guy called Jay on Air, right?
Yeah.
Jay on Air, as we speak, has become a bigger brand and can move to a bigger radio station if he wants. And he may not be the most qualified for that position. But guess what? You could just be as qualified as Jay, but what edges Jay over you is his popularity. So I'm not going to write off people that have gotten jobs, right? I would want to believe that the popular ones that got the jobs are also as qualified as you are to get those jobs, but because of their popularity, they edge you on the job. So what does that mean? It means take the feedback from the whole situation, not from the company, but take the feedback from the whole situation and work on getting that form of popularity for yourself, which I think you're already doing a good job at. And then build on that, because time waits for no one.
Yeah, definitely.
The power is in your hands. I don't want to sound like it's some aspire to perspire stuff, but the power is actually in your hands.
Yeah.
Like the minute you realize that you don't depend on anyone for anything, that's when there's some books that you read once you have the power, even when you're at the radio station, you have the power, and they will know that you have the power to work, because you can get the job and you may not enjoy being at the job because you don't know the power you have, right?
Yeah.
You can get the job and then they realize that you're not doing any good for them, but you're just a regular guy on the job. You may not get promoted on the job. There are some things, it's business, it's any extra that you can give to a job, to a company, an organization, or anything can take you from one level to another. So take the feedback on these opportunities that you miss. Trust me, the bigger opportunities are coming. So take the feedback, work on building your brand as an individual independently, and then watch how brands will chase you. Watch how companies will chase you. That's the truth. And when you get there, when you go to negotiate during the interviews and you make demands, you are negotiating, you unconsciously negotiate from a place of power. There are demands you will make that you will be like, wow, did I really say this? You won't settle. There are things that they will offer someone that looks desperate for a job than from someone who already has nothing to lose but something to gain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll give you typical artist examples. There are artists that sign bad deals every day. Artists sign bad deals because they believe that they don't have Instagram numbers, they don't have social media numbers, they don't have a community, they don't have a fan base. So this deal will help them. So they will be desperate to sign those deals, and then years down the line, they will be looking for ways to pull out of the contract because they were desperate in the beginning. But what if you are an artist that knows that whatever happens, you're going to blow? You are confident that you have a small community that rides with you. You're confident that everything you're doing is intentional, that you are not going to settle. No label will bring rubbish to you. And even when they bring rubbish to you, because you are informed, you have knowledge, you would know not to take the wrong deal. So that's exactly what it is. You need to build that independence. It's a social media age right now.
Yeah.
Even record labels are telling artists to build their social media following.
Exactly.
It's just the same way radio stations are telling OAPs, you have to do it for yourself. We cannot do it for you. And guess what? when they are telling you you have to do it for yourself, we cannot do it for you. When you do it for yourself, they would want to use what you have.
Yes, exactly.
So, what does this tell you? You have to work on yourself. No, I'm telling you, bro, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm working on myself regardless of where I find myself, right? No matter how big I get, I have to evolve as a person, as a brand, and as an entity. You get, so yeah.
So you guys have heard. Well, Sheye Banks has job quotes. So you guys should just watch this part of the video so you can learn from that. Thank you so much for clearing that out.
Thank you, bro.
And yeah, so what's the hardest part of being a hype man?
The hardest part of being a hype man has to be cheering people up that are going through stuff. I feel like, you know, like starting a party is the hardest thing.
Getting people in the mood.
Trust me, you have to respect every hype man that starts a party. You know, sometimes there's some parties that have like 3-4 hype men that come out.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, when I was in my early years, I used to be the guy number one.
Okay.
Right, that will come out first and start the party. Right, that's the toughest part. Getting people to dance and party when people are just coming in, when they've not had anything to eat or drink, because sometimes the drinks help.
Yeah.
You know, it just gets them going, right?
And then you have to dance too by yourself.
You get what I'm saying? So being that guy to start the party is always very tough. So yeah, shout out to everyone that starts a party. It's not the easiest thing, you know, and yeah, that's just pretty much the toughest part about being a hype man.
So, like, have you ever been in a crowd that is so dry and
bro,
you don't even know what to make of it? Like, you're just trying all your best at that point.
Bro, if as a hype man you've never been in that kind of situation, then you have not seen Shege. There's Shege everywhere. Like, it happens. I still went for, I think there was one show like that, like a year or 2 years ago, I think, and it happened, you know, and it was like, I think it was like an altar setting, right? So it was very rigid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Try to hype altar people.
Trust. They're only there to see like their cult leader. You know? So hyping at an altar-ish party is always very tough.
Wow.
But you just have to know how to navigate, and sometimes, you know, you just have to find your groove and just balance. You cannot be too hyped up when they're, you know, so you just have to, you know, balance the energy.
What's the longest you've hyped for? What's the longest?
Maybe 7-8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah, thereabout.
Wow. So are we about to do a Guinness record breaking?
You know, it's actually interesting, because prior to Hilda, one of my guys.
Had something like,
no. His name is Advantage. Advantage.
Okay.
And he's gonna do it this June, and he's gonna do it soon.
Wow.
So shout out to him, man. It's gonna be very inspiring, because hype has been a really, really disrespected craft for a long time, man.
Why do you think so?
It's been disrespected because of how, you know, so many hype men carry themselves, and sometimes the industry as a whole for the longest time did not understand the importance of the craft. That's those two major reasons, right? I know that a lot of hype men today, I know a lot of young hype men today, I can't confirm the stats, the facts, but I know a lot of young hype men today were once artists.
Yeah.
So it's been seen that a lot of hype men were artists that didn't get to make it, so they now settled for being a hype man. So there's that level of disrespect that comes from show promoters, and because of how hype men now carry themselves and say, okay, even if it's this, just give me this one, I will do them. Do you understand?
Wow.
And so I mean, it's both. There's so many other reasons as well, but those are the two I can remember right now.
Yeah, I remember. Was it last year or 2 years ago when I texted you, and then I was asking you about your charges for hyping. Honestly,
charges have changed, by the way.
Exactly.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
I mean, the amount that Sheye Banks told me, like, I just saw the amount. I was like, it's not me. It's not me that will negotiate this one.
Let me hear. See, the prices have gone
No, I just said that moment when you sent it to me, I just said that it's not me that will negotiate this one with you. I went back to the people that sent me.
You know,
so they just disappeared. So what are your charges like? Like, is it dependent? No, I know. Is it depending on the kind of party? Who's hosting and all of that?
For sure. Like, if I'm doing a concert, if I'm doing a rave, the way I'll charge for a rave is different from the way I'll charge for a wedding after party.
Okay.
The way I charge for a listening party is different from the way I'll charge for a book launch or a launch. You know, different prices for different events. There's some I've done some events where it's just very private. They just want to have a good time. See rich people, soft life.
Just chill.
Just hold your mic. Dress nice. Just look good, right? And the videos never came out, you know, and they pay me way more than I did for even big concerts. So sometimes it just depends on the setting. So you just know how to charge from event to event. Sometimes, you know, also you're leveraging on relationships.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, it's a very beautiful feeling.
Yeah, speaking of relationships, I know there was one time that you posted something about you grinding now for your future wife and kids.
Oh my God.
That was a very long time. I know you know that this question was going to come up definitely.
Okay.
That was a very long time ago. So, is the wife here yet?
Next question. The question needs to be next. I mean, but you know, at some point in our lives, we
definitely. Ilo is getting married.
Yeah, congratulations to Ilo, man. Congratulations to Ilo. You know, at some point in our lives, we evolve, we grow, and you can't stay the same forever, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much what life is about, and you know, I'm blessed. I'll say I'm blessed.
Yeah,
that's
so
all.
Sheye Banks just use style to answer that question. Like
I'm
that.
blessed.
So you guys know.
I'm blessed.
So speaking of your crafts now internationally, I'm sure you must have been getting like calls, and you know, you must have had talks about, you know, going international.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And doing all those things, tours and all of that.
Yeah.
So tell us, should we be expecting something like that pretty soon?
Yeah, I mean, there's tours in the works. I can't give all the details, but UK tour, US tour, Canada tour. My album is dropping soon.
Wow.
Statement of account, the album, I've been working on it for almost 5 years.
Wow.
Yes, it's crazy.
This is I'm always scared about artists that, you know, creatives that say this thing. I've been working on the album for 5 years, 2 years. We already know that album is definitely going to be a masterpiece.
My bro, I've had to delete, replace. I've done it. I feel like that's the only thing I would say I've overthought in the last 5, 6, 7 years, like creating an album. I don't think I've overthought how the execution needs to, you know, be. I've worked with other artists. I've worked on their projects, but I don't think I've really overthought a project the way I've overthought this one. So
are you a perfectionist when it comes to work?
Oh, trust me, bro. I mean, sometimes I even want creatives to do it the way I've processed it, but guess what? I've come to realize that it's not possible. You know, even now I'm starting to accept the imperfection in my perfection, because I realize that sometimes bliss just comes out of imperfections, right? So yeah, man, I'm a big perfectionist. I feel like that's one of the reasons why I tend to, and not just because I'm trying to be angry at directors or music producers or anything. That I feel like that's one of the reasons why I do a lot of things, because I want it to be done in a certain way.
Yeah.
You get me? So I'm a really big perfectionist.
Okay. So Sheye Banks, the director, coming soon.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
I'm definitely gonna direct videos from my album.
Okay.
You know, and there's Romy. I'm working with Romy. He's signed to us, so I'm directing videos for him. Lucid, another young talented boy, super talented boy. And I'm gonna be working with like some of your favorite artists. So I'm starting with like the small ones, you know, so that I can get like, that's like how every how every director starts, right?
Yeah,
You start with like the small ones. You get like some level of trust with those ones, so that the artist can see your resume and say, okay, this guy actually knows what he's talking about, and then take it to the next level. So yeah, Director Banks is that, and I'm also gonna be, hopefully by God's grace, doing some movies as well.
Movies.
Yeah.
Sheye Banks, can you act?
Oh yeah. So I'm watching like clips.
Okay.
Trying to take virtual acting classes.
Okay.
And I've had conversations with like some directors, film producers. So I'm there. Don't worry. It's going.
So which is your favorite Nollywood movie right now?
What's the last one I saw?
Gangs of Lagos.
Absolutely.
That's what everybody is talking about.
Gangs of Lagos was the last one I saw. Brotherhood 2 is a good watch.
Yeah, I actually prefer Brotherhood.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I prefer Brotherhood.
Toby's like my guy now. Like I like Toby Bakari's work. Shout out to Timini as well. There are quite a number of actors I see like, oh, these guys are doing something great that I can do. So I mean, I'll just probably play like the high school guy.
Yeah.
So and I mean, acting, directing movies and music videos are some of the things I'm looking to do as well.
So when I actually want to ask you about, something about Bugai again, like
right.
how did it start in the first place? Because I know obviously you are everywhere around the industry. You've been around artists and so many people like that. Like, how did the conversation start?
Okay, so I think the conversations. I don't think anybody has asked me this question before. So, the conversation started when Kiss Daniel's brother reached out to me.
Okay.
For a song called Flex.
Yeah, I know that song, Flex with Olamide.
And I told them it wasn't the right time.
Okay.
And clearly it wasn't the right time, right? So I feel like when it happened, when the song came out, they saw how it went.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to feel my pulse, like rub minds with me, and then that's how we started to work. They wanted to understand what I meant. I feel like a lot of the artists I work with tend to understand the music business more when they work with me, because it's not just about the music. The music might be great, but if you don't put it out at the right time, if you don't put it out with a perfect rollout, and if you don't put it out with the right energy, sometimes it just goes to the mud. So sometimes, I mean, Flex is still a great song. People that love good music will love that song, but it just was not in its time. So when that happened, Kiss Daniel called me. We set up a meeting, we had a conversation, and the energy was right at the time. We vibed, we went out, we just hung out, and then we started working. He wasn't sure about the song. The first song we worked on together was Lie.
Okay.
So he wasn't really sure about putting out that song as a single, and then I kept insisting that this is the song for this time, right? And that went on to be his first #1 song on Apple Music. And every other song he released, every other project he released after that, he had a #1, And he released, after Lie, I think he released Pour Me Water. No, he released the project,
Battabox, yeah.
Yeah, and then we had Pour Me Water on there. And then my producer produced like 2 songs on that project, right? So he had quite some success with Battabox, and then we worked on Buga the following year. So this was 2021, and then we worked on Buga as a single in the following year. Buga is going to be on his next album, I believe. We worked on RTID and Gwagwalada. I took Buju to Kiss Daniel's house. And then Buju saw his Bentley and said, God, I beg, don't like this Bentley. I don't know if you saw the tweet.
Yeah, I saw it.
Buju, Buju's a very fun guy.
Yeah.
And then, that happened.
Wow.
And a lot of songs like that. Like Yaya and Davido with Kiss Daniel, I airing out that as well.
Well, you have a hand in so many hit songs, man.
I mean, shout out to
and the thing is that nobody actually knows. Like, people don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if artists that have worked with me know that I like to ask for my credit. And sometimes they mistake it for asking for your credit so that you can shine. But I ask for my credit to empower and inspire a new generation of A&Rs to know that this job is an opportunity for you. You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be in the forefront.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, like, this is a job description. This is something you can do. So when artists give me my credit, it means you can work and get your rewards for working. So that's why I actually do that. So yeah, there's so many fields, there's so many things that goes on behind the scenes, and I'm not going to take all the credit for everything, but everybody puts in work. It's like how you give a producer credit, how you give a sound engineer credit for mixing and mastering, how you give vocal coach. You know, you have to give everyone their credit, and it's very important in entertainment.
You know, it's like what I've been like. I had a conversation with my friend about this same thing. You know, back in the days, we really didn't care about who produced this song. We literally had no idea about who produced the song. All we knew was that P Square was dropping a song and it's a banger. The band was dropping a song, One Day was dropping, and everybody was vibing to it. You get, prior to now that we know the producers more as they're coming out, and some of them are even transitioning to becoming artists. I think it's the same thing with A&R, because the other day on Twitter I saw where someone tweeted that A&Rs are largely disrespected in the industry by artists, and also they were also talking about One Day latest project, saying why the A&R would allow him, like, it's because it's been like almost a decade since he dropped an album and all of that. What do you think about the whole A&R disrespect?
I personally believe that a lot of creative jobs in entertainment are highly disrespected, but in my opinion, I'll say songwriters are the most disrespected, and after songwriters, A&Rs.
Wow.
When it comes to the music business and the music making, songwriters are the most disrespected, and then A&Rs are right after the songwriters. So, and Wandeko is my GOAT. I love Wandeko. I love that he has been, but yes, I agree with the fact that there should have been an A&R for that project, or the A&Rs on the project should have handled it differently. You know, not to disrespect anybody's work, you know. The facts is there. A&Rs are highly disrespected, and I wish it can change right now, because the way Afrobeats is going, we're the eyes of the world right now. We're on the eyes of the world, I meant to say, and like everyone is watching, everyone is seeing what we're doing. So as the artists are winning, as Thames is getting recognition, her management, her A&Rs, her team, the people that decide what to put out next, you know, they also need to win. You know, it's important for everybody, for Rema, everyone needs to shine. Everyone needs to see that you can be an inspiration to the next generation. You see the way David credits everyone that puts in work? I respect that, because
that's something you don't get to see every day.
I'm telling you, Asa has multiple businesses away from being David's manager. Same for Bizzle, same for a lot of people, because he has empowered people and he has fully represented what it means to be in entertainment, the music business. So we rise by little others, no be cap at all. Like, it's facts, it's clear. Everybody's seeing that you can, with David, start something and empower a whole new generation of, and it's really, really, really important for us to understand that you cannot become bigger if you don't give people what they deserve. Like, life will not even reward you. If you don't credit people, life will discredit you. Sometimes, even when you've how do I put this now? Sometimes, even when you set out not to credit people, just crediting them in a way can do a whole lot for you. Sometimes, the only time, maybe if you sign non-disclosures and all of that, if there's no non-disclosure, take your credits, post your credits, let people know, because the universe can even discredit you. I'm telling you.
I think it's so crazy. Like, at this point, we should like have a law that guides, you know, crediting creatives and all of that, because a lot of creatives, like, their work has just been there, just like that,
right.
And they have to be the one to start telling people, oh, I did this, I did that, you understand it, whereby the artist or whoever would have just credited them at that spot, and they get whatever they want from them, the benefits that they deserve from there. And I think it's something that we definitely need to we should look into.
Absolutely. I think so too, and I think it starts with like people knowing what they need to be credited for. Like I said, information is power, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
If you know that you deserve credit for something, demand for it. There are some people that will just say, he's helping me, he's doing this, and then they won't ask. So if you don't ask, you won't receive. Bible says it too. If you don't ask, you're not gonna get. If you don't seek for it, you're not gonna find it. So at the end of the day, know what you're about. Know what you need to ask for, especially when you put in the work. Because if you don't emphasize on the work you put in, they will not even think that you are valuable to them. It's like you come here every day and you ask for a raise when you are acting like, thank you so much for this opportunity. I don't want this. Thank you so much. If that's all you keep going on and you don't give reports and analysis of how you have spent your time, they'll write on that. And they're not going to write on that because they're trying to cheat you. It's because they are not informed of how much importance and significance you've added to the place. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's about speaking. If you don't talk, the things that you're supposed to get, they will pass you by, right? The game is the game and life is life. And if you don't talk, the universe will discredit you.
Sometimes, do you think that sometimes this is the whole issue with credits and all of that? Do you think it comes with it comes from the label or the management sometimes?
It could be. It actually could be, but it's not necessarily always the case.
Okay.
So sometimes it could just be miscommunication, especially if you're not on the same page with your team and there's no understanding of the business. So it could be, but not necessarily always the case.
Okay. So who is your favorite artist for the moment? Not of all time, like at the moment.
It has to be Joeboy.
Joeboy. Why Joeboy? Because apart from the album coming out, there's not. Joeboy has been giving us NEPA vibes.
How do you mean? Explain.
He has been coming on and off. He has not really been on 2022, 20. Right, you understand now?
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So when I say my favorite artist, I'm not talking from just the perspective of the consumer.
Okay.
I'm talking from the perspective of relationship.
Okay.
Joeboy as a person is one of the best artists I've worked with.
I said I was going to tell you, but I keep forgetting. There was one time when you were on air, you mentioned, I knew Buju from you.
Right.
You were always talking about Buju one time. You were always talking about Buju, saying we should look out for the guy, playing his songs and all of that. I'm not like, who is this Buju guy? Then I heard that song he remixed with Burna Boy. I've forgotten. The song he remixed with Burna Boy. Lenu.
Yeah.
Then I heard that song.
I mean,
and I was like,
I'm not gonna lie to you. Till today, after Wande Cole is Buju. I love Wande Cole so much, and I still love Buju. But like I said, right now the artist I really like as a person, not just as an artist, right, is Joeboy. I said something on his face the other day. Joeboy na artist we get home training. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just like Joeboy's vibe. He listens. He's calm. He knows what he's about too. He's not faded by, what's going on around in the society, and he knows what he wants. So yeah, his vibe is pure, is authentic, and shout outs to every. He's not just the only artist like that. There are quite a number of them like that, and I really, really appreciate genuity in entertainment and in music. So because a lot of people tend to lose themselves.
Yeah.
Once you start, stacking up racks and you get money, you just switch up on people. And sometimes the people that you need to switch up on, now the people we no one get sense. But like you need to stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Like people that don't stay true to themselves is what I'm talking about.
So how is your process like? I'm coming back to hype now. How is your process like when you want to get up stage? What do you do? Because and there was one time I said I was going to tell you. There was one time I think I went for a show. I think it was organized by Pepsi. Can't really remember. I saw you in that show. You were hyping, and then the next minute I was going home. Inside the car, the radio was on, and I heard you.
Oh man!
I'm like, who is this guy?
Oh man! I mean,
how do you handle
bro,
all those?
That's why I said it's not by my power, it's not by my mind, not by God's grace. It happens that I just do that from time to time. There was a day, in fact, this day, God save me because I would have lost 2 clients.
Wow!
I had a show simultaneously at the same time. Thankfully, that show was on the same street.
Wow.
So I was doing 2 shows. Yeah, one for Pepsi and one for another.
I think that was the day. Was that the day?
It was this one was sometime last year.
Okay, I think that was because it was also for Pepsi.
Right. I mean, they're one of my clients, so
wow. That's amazing.
So I mean, like, I don't know. It just like it happens.
I think it's part of the hustling spirit.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm really proud of myself. But like, I give all the glory to God because I know that there are so many times where I would have broken down and I would have been sick, but like God just gives me energy out of nowhere. There are times where I've slept only for like 1 hour and then I get on stage and it just seems like I've been pumped the whole day. And there's sometimes I just get on stage and I don't know where the energy comes from. And I'm thankful to God, it's God's grace.
So do you like practice before you get on stage?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like sometimes dance moves, even though
so you have to learn.
you have to learn. You have to always evolve. And sometimes depending on the crowd you're trying to connect with, you need to understand what they want. So yeah, definitely you have to evolve. Sometimes I pray, before I get on stage, I'm just that guy that sometimes I even go to the gym like just to get myself, because I don't want to work out too much.
Yeah.
So that when I get on the stage, I'm tired. Because going to the gym and getting on stage is like working out twice.
Yes.
Right? So exactly. You know this now, you're a gym guy.
Exactly.
So like, sometimes I just go do the treadmill. And then
to just burn the fat and all of that.
Exactly. So I just get on stage.
Wow, that's amazing, man. It's been amazing talking with you. I mean, we've actually wanted to do this for like a very long time, I think this was just like the perfect time to do this.
Yo, thank you so much for having me, bro.
Yeah, man, it's amazing, man. You're doing amazingly well, and I'm very sure that very soon, this air now thing definitely is going to blow up. Like, you're already blown up, but it's going to like blow up to the international level. In Nigeria and Africa as well, where you're going to be the class captain of all of all air nows,
That's what's up.
So yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much. I love your drive, your energy, and everything. You keep doing your thing, man.
Bless you, bro. And I'm looking out for you too, man. Yeah. See you at the top. You've been on this grind for the minute, and your consistency is also inspiring, and I wish you the very best, bro. Yeah. I know for facts you're gonna be at the top.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you so much. So yes, that's it, guys, on the Battabox podcast. Sheye Banks was my guest. An amazing conversation we've had so far. And if you want to catch Sheye Banks on social media, you can follow him at
Sheye Banks. That's at SHEYE BANKS.
Yes, and also this guy Sheye Banks likes money. Can you see from the name Banks already should give you a clue that he likes.
Keep your money in my bank. We invest it and bring returns.
Yes. So you can also follow Battabox Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere on social media at Battabox Podcast, and you can follow me as well, Benji SZN, Instagram and Twitter. Till I come your way next time. Bye bye, guys.
Battabox.